Hello, are you out there? It's Mark with HFD, and I'm back with Am I a Bad Player? This is an open question coming off of r/D&D. Now, it's way less vague in general than the title would suggest. It really has a lot more to do with large game group mechanics, it has to do with pets, and it has to do with advocating for your characters and rules and how you deal with that. So let's talk about it a little bit. Hi, everyone. I wanted to get some outside perspective because I'm honestly wondering if I'm a bad player. You're not. It's fine. You're not a bad player. I've been playing and DMing D&D for about 2 years now. Recently, at my university's D&D club, they organized a big event. About 10 DMs collaborating to run quests for players who are all part of an in-world guild. Each DM prepares different quests, and players could join whichever quest fit their schedules. That sounds awesome. I wish that had been a thing when I was in college. At first, they told us, you can't make your own characters. You'll have to pick one of the pre-made ones we provide. I was fine with that and tried to be cooperative. Later, though, they allowed other players to make their own and often strong builds. You were less cooperative. It sounds like you're just being a little salty there. Although, to be fair, does anyone really want to make a pre-made? That should always be an option. There should be some pre-mades available for people who are very new to D&D and don't know how to or intimidated by making their own character, and then everyone else should be able to make their own character. That's just me. Okay, well, let's keep going. That's just on me. This isn't OP here. Players are level 5. I picked the Oath of Glory Paladin from the pre-mades. Now, at level 4, this character had the Mounted Combatant feat. The main organizer DM told me that the character's backstory included saving a fey creature years ago, which then turned into a horse and has accompanied them ever since. Oh, I like that. That's a fun little bit of backstory. Animal companion, yeah. No, I'm going to stop it right there, though, because... oh, wow, there's a lot of stuff. No, anytime you're going to have a companion who's integral to your character, you've got to sort it out with the DM beforehand. So, like, say you're going to play a Master Blaster type of character, a la Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, right? And you're like, yeah, my character's actually 2 creatures who work collaboratively. You can do that with your DM's buy-in and okay. It is really important because if one half of the group dies or your bonded animal spirit companion dies, and it's just like, let's go get another wolf, and you're like, it's not just a random wolf. It was my bonded wolf pup who raised me since I was a baby thing, whatever, right? So you just got to get your DM's buy-in. I'm going to point out, though, that the fact that this was a pre-made and that you have a dozen, 10 different DMs, not a good idea. That level of backstory detail isn't going to be known by all the other DMs. So I don't think that's on OP here. I think that's very much on the creators or whichever DM. I would bet in a group like this, every DM got the assignment to like make up 5 pre-made characters. So there's like 50 pre-made characters, but I can guarantee you not all the DMs know all the characters and their special abilities. Anytime you're playing in an Adventures League or massive rotating drop in, drop out game group like this, you have to have a level of understanding, like a session 0 rule or a rules of conduct that say that you will discuss any issues with your character's interpretation with the DM between sessions. DM rules are final during sessions, but clarifications can be made after the fact. If you have concerns about your character's interpretations, present them to your DM before the session starts. Like, have these rules and regulations within the group. Because again, one DM at the end of adventure, 5 can give a character a new magical item that the DM they have next week has no idea about and is confused about, doesn't understand how it interacts with the adventure they've made or with your character's capabilities. They can't possibly keep track of it. So I don't want to wag my finger too much, but you just all have to really work hard to get along when you're playing in a massive group. How about that? It's just everyone has to be super understanding because there will be misunderstandings. There'll be a lot of them. Okay. So game week started. I joined a quest run by one of the DMs, who I think was less experienced and not super familiar with the rules, which is fine. This is going to be relevant. The mission involves sneaking into a cave. I imagined myself sneaking in with my Fey mount. I figured, given the backstory, the mount was intelligent and could understand the need for stealth. Yeah, sure. Like you're saying, it's not like an intelligence 2 animal. Maybe it can't speak, but it has like an int of 5 or something like that. Yeah, sure. I could see that. But understanding the need for stealth does not mean they are stealthy. It means they make a stealth check. So were you making stealth rolls for your mount when the DM called for stealth checks, did you make stealth checks for your mount? Ugh. Misunderstanding. See, here's the thing though. This isn't a big deal. Because the DM could just be like, yeah, the cave entrance was too small for your mount. Your mount didn't come in here with you. Problem solved. That's how I would deal with it. At some point, we were discovered and combat started. I said, I used half my movement to mount up. The DM was surprised and said, why would you bring a horse into a cave when you were sneaking? Oh, I replied that according to the character backstory they gave me, the mount was a fey creature, not just a normal horse, and would be smart enough to move quietly. Again, smart enough to attempt to move quietly, but the stealth check is what determines that. I find this part of the story interesting because why does the DM care? I would look at it that way. Like, listen, if there's ropes, right? It's a tree. It's a giant tree fortress with dark forest elves or monkey creatures or something, and everyone has to climb vines to get from limb to limb and platform to platform. Then you have a very good reason to be like, yeah, man, your horse can't climb ropes, bro. No hands. But otherwise, you just be like, yeah, your horse is there. Your horse isn't gonna isn't OP. It's not gonna break the game. So, I think it's easy to resolve as a DM. You just say, nah, your horse couldn't squeeze inside of here. If that's what it needs to be, but otherwise, the DM should just be like, yeah, sure, man, mount up. I don't care. So, it shouldn't be annoying to your DM. It is all I'm saying there. But you should be making stealth checks. I think the DM was annoyed by the whole idea, but to be fair, they hadn't described the cave as having difficult terrain or places a horse couldn't go. It's just a cave. During combat, the DM tried to attack my mount, and I used the mounted combatant feature to redirect the attack to myself. Yeah, that is one of the main points of having the mountain combatant is that your horse doesn't just die every combat. Most mounts aren't going to be nearly as durable or capable as their riders, so they would die a lot. Dragon breath, and your horse is dead. Everyone's mount is dead, but all the characters are still alive. Just all their mounts are wiped out from like the 8d8 fire damage or something. It's like, shit, we have a bunch of roasted horses. Those would be expensive to replace. You're like, nope, I'm a mounted combatant. My horse familiar is fine. I think that's how you should consider it. Like, they're familiar-esque. I think all pets should be familiar-esque, where they just come and go as is needed by the story and the desires of the players. Because people everyone gets very attached to pets. Even other party members will get attached to one character's pet. It happens. You don't want to kill them off. Don't mess with people's pets. But if that's going to be the case, you have to have the ability, as the DM, to just, or the group just has the ability to just shunt pets and companions off to the side and then bring them back in when the role play calls for it. That's pretty important. The only other thing is how much power are you giving to your pets and your companions? If they're intelligent, there's a legitimate question that the DM controls them. Although the character that is bonded to the pet would have significant influence over giving the pet directions, or the pet wants to appease their main character because they're bonded, they're good friends. Sure, but if you're playing a smart, capable creature, the DM should control that creature, not the player, in my opinion, because it's just, why are you playing two characters? You have a character. Everyone else should have a character. It really, really bogs down play when everyone decides that they want their own second character also. So it's not game breaking, and I think having like one pet in a group is cool, and it's certainly something worth discussing. And I would say that realistically, in an adventures league style like what you're describing here, there shouldn't be pets that are in combat situations. Just period. It's just really just everyone's just playing a group of druids and has their 8 summons, and you're just like, oh my god, it's gonna take 4 hours for every round of combat. No, no one's there for that. So being courteous and understanding when pets and companions should be shunted to the side is, it's kind of an art form, but you got to know when to do it or when not to. It gets really annoying getting bogged down and burning game time on non-characters isn't really that fun. Okay. Where the hell are we? It's just a cave. During combat, the DM tried to attack the mount. Then one of the enemy casters hit me with hideous laughter. I failed the whiz save, and the DM said, "You fall off your horse." I pointed out that technically, I think I should make a dex save to avoid falling prone. Technically incorrect. You would make a dex save to avoid falling off a mount, but if Tasha's hideous laughter makes you prone, oh, what the hell does it do? Makes you prone and something else. Okay, it makes you prone. You just fall down. You can't. I was just trying to think of, you unconscious, incapacitated. The roll when you go prone on a mount is to see if you fall off the mount, but you're still prone on the mount. Like this is like for dragon riders. You're up 1,000 feet in the air on your dragon, and the enemy has some ability to knock your character prone, and they're just like, that's it, prone condition. You automatically fall off your mount. You plummet 1,000 feet to your death. Bad guys win, or vice versa. The good guys do that to the bad guy. You get a dex save. It's probably like a flat, it's like a DC 10, I think, just a standard like 50-50-esque, to see if you stay in the saddle on the mount, but you're still prone. So that roll is only to avoid the fall, not to avoid, you're unconscious in the saddle. Your foot's caught, you're laying back like this, you're caught in the reins. I don't know, however you want to color it. But yeah, the DM doesn't just get to say you fall off your horse. So you're not wrong there, but you're not completely right because you're still prone on the creature. All the prone rules would still apply. If Tasha's City's Laughter says you fall prone, you make a whiz save, you fail it, you're prone, then you're prone on the mount if you make the dex save. So that's super nitty gritty though. And again, why does it matter? Oh, see. This is the problem with mounted combatant. It's just like, it matters a little bit, I guess, because when you're like hacking down on like creatures that are a size smaller than your mount or whatever it is, it's like one size medium or smaller or whatever size smaller than your mount, you get advantage on attacks. So it matters, yeah, I guess. But you're hideous laughing right now, so you can't make those attacks anyway. So it's an argument. It shouldn't be an argument. The DM should know the rule, but it's a super obscure rule that 9 out of 10 D&D players don't know. So it's a bit of minutia. What am I saying is that I wouldn't even bring it up. It's just like so small and pointless. Okay. We're getting into, do you advocate for your character? I have ideas. At that point, the DM seemed really annoyed and even said, "I hate you." That is not okay. They might have said a joke. Okay, whether they were joking or not, it's not okay in this situation because you're in a group of strangers. You don't know all the DMs. You don't know all the other players, and the groups mix through week by week that the club meets. So if you were with good acquaintances or friends, you might be able to throw little barbs, jibes, and jokes between each other that others would construe as insulting. But within your group, you folks are okay with it. But in this situation, it is never okay to be rude, dismissive, or talk down to other people in the club ever. Because even though it may be okay with you and your friend, you and the DM could be best friends and known each other your whole lives. You could be brothers. It doesn't matter because everyone else around you doesn't know the context in that situation. And now you're poisoning the well. You're planting the seed of disrespect, swearing, insulting, and other people will could pick up on it and be like, "Oh, that's okay in this group. It is okay to speak that way to others in the group." So that is was really poor of the DM in this situation to do. I want to say unprofessional. It's not a professional thing, but yeah, within the club rules, the club probably needs rules saying you cannot speak aggressively, it, dismissively, insulting, whatever, to other people in the club. Yeah. Okay. We finished the quest, but later I heard that the DM thought I was really annoying. The main organizer DM came to talk to me and said, "Hey, the fell backstory was just flavor. Mechanically, your mount works like a normal horse." That's neither here nor there. I feel bad because this just shouldn't have been a big deal. If the DM should have been like, "Oh yeah, you're on your horse in the cave. I Sure, that won't break anything," or "No, you're not on the horse in the cave," and you should have been like, "Yeah, okay, that's okay. That won't break anything." It just should have been a simple flip a coin. um, I understand the feat is built in there, and that the DMs who made the character backstories and made the characters put that on you, but you did choose that oath of whatever paladin. And to be fair, the mounted combatant feat on that level 5 paladin is just like 5% of the capabilities of that paladin. The paladin's still an extremely strong adventurer without a mount underneath them. I'm just saying. They're not quite as strong because they're missing out on a feat, but they still got everything else at level 5, which is a lot of things. Um, I said okay and decided that going forward I would avoid joining that particular DM's quests. That's probably advisable. Sure. Give it time, come back around, work on your reputation. I would imagine if you're still in the club 3 months down the road, shouldn't be an issue by then. Everyone would get a feel for each other, but at least you were new to the club, but maybe everyone was new to the club altogether. Maybe your club doesn't have any rules and bylaws and behavior and how to resolve issues at a table. When you got 50 different people playing D&D together with each other, you better have some dang rules established on how you deal with this stuff. Okay, but now I'm wondering, am I actually in the wrong here? Uh, okay, without the mounted combatant feat I was given at level 4 is basically useless. Was all right. Let's take these on one at a time. Was I actually wrong here? You were a, a, a bit wrong, but so is everyone. Every session of D&D ever. Right? I mean, we're talking here people who have played D&D for a year, for years, for decades. Has anyone ever sat down at a table and not made a mistake in their role play, in their understanding of the rules, had to ask a question, had a value put on their character, a debuff in round 1 of combat, and 20 minutes later when their turn comes around a second time, they've forgotten about it? Everyone makes that mistake every session. Every 3-4 hour session, that's going to happen to every player. The DM absolutely makes multiple mistakes every session, all the time. So it's not being wrong, being right. It's just you're playing an extremely complex game with 700 pages of manual that not everyone's going to remember. Okay. Without the mounted combatant feat I was given at level 4 is basically useless. Absolutely. That is a big flaw to mounted combatant. I am in a group where my Battlemaster fighter has a cool mount. And early on, a lot of people were like, you should take the mounted combatant. You should take the mounted combatant feat. And I considered it, but I didn't want to burn my limited feats on that. And I didn't want to be tied to my mount all the time. I like my character's mount. the other players and characters like my character's mount. It's a nice pet within the party, but I didn't want to be tied to it all the time. You chose the character. Even though it was pre-built, you did choose it from many options. Yeah. It's the Appa problem from Avatar: The Last Airbender. The boomerang squad or whatever doesn't always get to take Appa along. Appa's very smart and extremely powerful and extremely useful, but Appa doesn't go into every little dungeon with the group. And the creators of the Avatar put a lot of effort into thinking about where like Appa and Momo are a lot of the times, and sometimes written in they have explained away why those side characters aren't there. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for the mount to not be there all the time, but in your defense, it should be there most of the time. Like 3 out of 4 hours of gameplay ish, 75% of the time, your mount should be there if your character is built around a mount. Yes, absolutely. Way more than half the time, I think would be appropriate. Was I wrong to try and justify having the mount with me given the backstory they gave me? No, not at all. You were 100% right in trying to justify the mount being there, but it was just a conversation that should have been had. Via the bylaws and general spoken, unspoken rules of the play group with 50 people, how do we resolve issues like that? Where it's like, you guys are in the deep dungeon. It's like, all right, I pull a rope out of my horse's saddlebag. The DM's like, your horse isn't in here with you. And you're like, okay, we have rules and bylaws to figure out how this is going to work right now. Do they say that DM has final say and that issues will be resolved afterwards? And then after that session, you get to then explain, hey, see my character sheet. The horse goes with me next time I play with you. And then the next time you play with a different DM or the same DM, you bring up the fact that your mount is an integral part of your character. And unless said otherwise, the assumption is always going to be that your horse is there all the time. But in this instant, it's not a big thing. You absolutely had every right to try and advocate and get as much for your character as possible. I will just say, though, within limits, take the temperature of the table, the room. Does everyone else at the table advocate for their characters 3 times a session? Or do most of the people there not advocate for their characters even 1 time a session? And it's just you every 20 minutes, you're advocating, asking for something, asking the DM to take back something they said or to add something on that they didn't, that wasn't implied. And now you as a player are bogging down the play relative to everyone else. No one else is interrupting roleplay to say, oh, this should have happened, or can this also happen, or don't you think it would have been this way, DM? There's nothing wrong with doing that in relative proportion to how much all the other people are doing it. If you're the only one, or you're doing it like 4 times more than everyone else, I'm going to say that probably the other players and the DM don't appreciate it. If it's a group, though, where everyone just is always the talking and arguing, the mechanics and the rules lawyering is a part of the table, and a good number of you seem to really enjoy it, then have at it. That's clearly why you folks played that game system. But if it's just you, my rule of thumb advice for this is advocate and stop gameplay to have a rules discussion or make a request of more or less of something for your character once per game session. Be looking out for your character. Be looking out for getting in a winning spot for your PC and your entire party. By all means, do that. The DM's making a ruling you don't think is correct, or you're trying to do something and the DM's just not understanding. You're like, no. It's just like in this movie, this cool scene in this movie works this way. That's what I was imagining. And the DM could be like, oh yeah, that was cool. Okay, I get what you're saying. Then I will allow it. But rule of thumb for me, this is just my general opinion, advocate once per game session. And that's it. Let the other stuff go. Stick with the DM's rulings. Because in this case here, with the falling off the mount, going prone, there is a half a sentence somewhere in a 300-page book about what happens if you get knocked prone on a mount. There's it's all I don't want to say convoluted. Like, does your mount get knocked prone? Do you get knocked prone? There's another one. If you lose control of the mount, something like that. But it's super obscure. I wouldn't expect any DM to know it off the top of their head. I wouldn't expect any player to know it, and it just almost shouldn't matter. Should I have assumed it was a normal horse and can't go into a cave? No, you're not wrong for that. There's no reason a horse can't go in some caves. The DM just has to decide. It's like, nope, sorry, there's stairs and ropes. Versus mine, dug by dwarves who've used mules for 500 years to mine the cave, and a pack animal can go anywhere in the cave. Yeah, your horse isn't an elephant. It's roughly as tall as a man, and it's roughly as wide. It's just longer and heavier. Can horses do steps? I think horses can get up steps, I believe. Okay. Finally on that though. This is long. Holy shit, this is long. If ever a companion or a mount or a pet is in a situation where it's not going to work in the story, everyone just say, I tell Bill the horse to go back outside. Sorry, Bill, you can't climb down the rope ladder. You can't go with us, buddy. And Bill the horse knows to go back to the nice grass outside. He can smell the fresh air and find his way out, and that's it. Bill the horse is going to be fine. Bill the pony. And you don't have to worry about it. Do not waste game time on this. I just beg you, folks. Don't. Pets, companions come in when they're needed for fun and enjoyment to make the game better, and they are shuffled off to the side, and you can forget about them when you want to. Do not lose sleep over that. No one is role-playing to keep track of someone's cat. It's just not it. It's how you feed and groom the horses. I've never in decades ever played with a person who's playing for that. Okay, I'm honestly trying to be a good player and not make problems. What do y'all think? I would say don't advocate or push back against the DM too much. Would be my main advice. Otherwise, in this playgroup, make sure that the DM you're sitting down with understands the couple of critical features of your character if they're not obvious. I'm just a fighter with a steel shield, a steel axe, and a steel helm, and I'm going to hack things apart. The DM doesn't need to know anything about me or my backstory. It will have zero effect, is one thing. Versus, I'm bonded to this fey horse. If the horse dies, my character dies as well. DM probably needs to know something like that. Like I'm exaggerating, but it is like that is a conversation you have with the new DM. So that's all. You're not a bad player. No one's a bad player. Everyone makes rules mistakes every single session, and don't interrupt game flow too often per session to argue or rules lawyer or advocate, because just most other people aren't doing that a lot, and it gets annoying to everyone else around you. That's it. Okay, if you listen, thank you so much. Take care.